Hi, this is Ruth Theresa with One Inspiring Woman, and today I'm talking about lavender buds. That's right, lavender buds is something I use all the time. This is just a crystal bowl with a whole bunch of lavender buds in there. And I love lavender buds, and I also enjoy having the energy around me. I'm not a true fan of all of the fragrances that lavender buds can give off, especially if they are created chemically. So anything that has been created chemically and not using direct natural lavender oil from the plant will kind of cause me to sneeze or itch or both, which is kind of a funny one. But I will tell you that lavender buds are way stronger than most people ever believe that they are. And I think that's kind of the interesting part about it, is that a lot of times when I'm talking to my students about it, I'll be like 1 to 2 lavender buds, 1 to 2, 1 to 2. And they will be like, you mean 50? And I'm like, no. 1 to 2 lavender buds in each corner of the room or around your space can help clear out the energy so much faster. Yes, you can use 50 of them, but a lot of times what it'll end up doing is over cleansing the space, which means like you've kind of cleaned out and kind of made a negative space of kind of like there's nothing there, and it brings in more negative energy to the space. So one of the things that I often use when I go on a trip, I use a small bag of lavender buds for each hotel room. Now, if we're going to be in a hotel room for 3 or 4 days, I will just use it one time. I will go around and set up my lavender kind of area and cleanse the space and just leave it. Usually the next time the maid comes in, they'll clear out the space, or they'll vacuum out the lavender buds themselves. So I just kind of leave it in that space. Now, if I'm changing hotel rooms a lot on a trip, we've been on trips where we're only in each room a night or two, and then we're moving on to the the next hotel or the next area. I will do that in every hotel room that we set up. So depending on how long our trip is and how many times we're changing hotel rooms or space, I will set up and cleanse each space that I'm in. Every time we walk in, I will set up the space and balance the room for me in particular, and it makes the space so much easier to deal with. But a lot of times I will tell my clients that, and they will literally take 5 or 10 or more lavender buds and put them in each corner, and then they kind of actually cleanse out that space too much. And then, like I said, you're making a negative space, like there's nothing there. You're making a vacuum. It's the best way to put it. Now that you've kind of vacuumed out everything in that space, everything else is going to come in. So any negative energy that were in the rooms next to or around you are now kind of coming into your space, and it can really affect not only your energy, especially if you travel with kids. It can affect their energy, or if you have pets as well, it can kind of set their energy off as well. So using lavender buds is something that I use quite often to set up space and kind of hold energy for myself. And I also use it weekly in my own office to kind of balance the energy here. When I'm using them in my office, I know that I am going to be dealing with people that are leaving old energy behind, or changing their way of thinking, or kind of energetically kind of going through what's kind of whatever's going on with them, kind of upgrading their energy. And when I do, it can be a really interesting energy to have the lavender buds, because once it hits the lavender buds, it kind of dissipates really fast and easy, and I don't have to cleanse my space every day. Then I can do it only when I absolutely require it. So let's get you some answers more about lavender buds. And if you have any questions about lavender buds, make sure that you are posting them below. And then make sure that you subscribe, like, and share this video. If you have lots of questions, I will definitely do another video. So here's a few of them. This one is 7th house, and this is all about relationships. I will tell you, even when I'm staying in someone who's related to me's house, if I'm staying with a friend's house or a family member's house, kind of staying at their house for a little bit, I will also set up that space the same way. I will cleanse that space. And sometimes I'll even cleanse their whole house while I'm there, just because I don't want to bring any negative energy or pick up any negative energy while I'm there. This is the North Node, and this is the future. I will tell you that once a space is cleansed really well, it does go into the future. It doesn't have to be done quite as often. And one of the things I think is really interesting is once you cleanse it correctly, it can keep that energy space clear for years. And that can be a really interesting thing, because a lot of times when I've stayed at someone's house and I've cleansed that space, a lot of times they'll be like, well, after you left, I really enjoyed that energy in the room, and I just kept going in there, or I started sleeping in that room, or whatever it is. And it's like, yeah, because I cleansed it. That's the cool part. This is the ascendant, and this is all about the entrance. Kind of the entrance to the a hotel room is kind of the most important, or your front door, whatever door that you come in most often in your space, is the one that really has to be cleansed the most, just because it can be the kind of where energy comes in the most, and people have a lot of negative energy on them usually. This is the second house, and this is all about resources. Where you get your lavender buds can be very, very important. Where you pick them up from, and how they have been using that space. So a lot of times when I'm in a space, it's kind of like, how is that space being used, and kind of like the entrance of that, kind of like that energy as well. It can be very powerful. And then getting my lavender buds from a reputable source. It's one of those can be much better. A lot of times, like I said, you will pick up lavender buds that have been chemically treated with something, or have some other chemicals on them, and then that inhibits the lavender to do its best ability. This one is the 12th house, and this is all about introspection. I think that's kind of the most important part for me, is kind of looking at the spaces. I'm only getting to use this for a period of time, and so I want to cleanse it as best I possibly can, and setting the right energy, not only for me, but for other people as well, and kind of clearing out any old energy of fights, arguments, old stale energy, any of that, kind of like clearing that out completely can be a great way to kind of set the space for you and for others to come. I thank you so much for joining me today, and I know that we'll be talking again soon.